Hey everybody, I want to talk today a little about escapism and video games and how they go together. If you've never heard of escapism, it's basically distracting yourself from things in your life that aren't so good. Um, or like if you're bored or if you're scared or if you have problems basically. Any kind of hardships, it's distracting yourself, and usually through entertainment. This wasn't really something that like early man had to deal with when your whole time spent just trying to survive and getting the food you need and the shelter you need and things like that. You don't really have the luxury of escapism and as much. It, it's been around for a while, of course, but I think it really became prominent within the last 100 years, kind of around the time of World War II, where now, of course, society, you all have your defined jobs, so this is the time you work. You do what you need to do, you get your money, and then you can afford to buy the other things so you're not spending all your time gathering food and shelter and stuff like that. You have luxury time. And then, of course, World War II was a pretty dark time with a lot of atrocities, so there's a lot to distract yourself from. And in America, that's followed up with Great Depression. So that's definitely a time where it was enhanced, and it's also where you see the rise of comic books and movies and serials and things that you would go see at the movie theaters. So that's when it became more prominent, and now I think it's kind of bigger than ever because look how much of your life and most people's lives are dominated by pop culture. It's pretty much what we all focus on, whether it's video games, movies, music, any of that kind of stuff. We all focus on entertainment as like a pretty high priority in our life. That's what we do most of the time with our downtime. So how does video games specifically fit into this? Well, since it's an interactive medium, I think it's easier for you to get involved in escapism with it because you're living something out. It's a way that it enhances it because you're actually doing something in the game. So let's have some examples. Well, in your daily life, if you're like me, and I know usually I try to be pretty positive on all my videos, and you kind of see me in my best light. It's not that I'm trying to be phony or anything. I mean, I'm having a good time with my kids and talking about something I enjoy, so usually it's a pretty good time. You all right? Oh, by the way, Sophia just turned 3 months. So usually I'm enjoying myself, and plus, like, why would I want to come off as like a crabby person when trying to share like the joy I have of gaming with my family? But in life, I can be a fairly negative person overall. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. And what kind of things get me down? Usually financial things. Finances are very hard. Adulting, as they like to say, is very hard. You get all kinds of bills, medical, mortgage, car payments, just tons of stuff. There's always money. There's always more money owed than coming in for me. So that brings me down. There's other things, and that's probably true of like anyone. Any adult's got to have some kind of hardships, whether they're financial or personal or relationship-wise. There's all kinds of things, and then there's just society in general. Watching the news, school shootings, political climate, racism, you name it. There's climate problems. There's just all kinds of stuff. Like, it's very easy to get down. So how do you distract yourself from that? Maybe you go to the movies, maybe you watch TV, maybe you're reading a book, or maybe you're playing a video game. Um, I think one reason that people still go to the movies is because the rules that you're supposed to follow is you turn off your phone and you're supposed to be quiet and watch the movie. Everyone's in this dark environment where they can focus up on that big screen and you can lose yourself in the story. Hopefully you're not there sitting thinking about your problems and things like that. You're getting involved in what's happening on the screen. So for a couple hours you're able to lose yourself and not be thinking of your laundry list of things that you have to get done. So video games offers the same thing on another level. Like when I'm playing something like Breath of the Wild, if you need rupees on that game, then it's very clear cut how you can get more rupees. Like you go and fight monsters, or you go and chop down trees, or go find gems, or there's a bunch of ways, and then you go sell them. Bless you. Or on other Zelda games, like you go look for treasure. So it's a clear-cut solution, which is something you don't usually get in life. It's like, well, I need more money this month, but I'm not getting paid enough on my job. What do I do? How can I make some extra money? That's not always an easy answer in real life. Or continuing with Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, my health is low, I need some food. Let's go find some food, let's forage for it. Whereas most people in their daily lives, you can't just walk down the street and pick up some food and like, oh, here it is. That's not how it usually goes. You have to have money and go buy it. So it lets you live things out in a different way. Sticking with Nintendo, let's say Mario. Mario is very simple. You're going and you're rescuing someone. You're usually the princess, and that's pretty much it. So like you get to live out being this hero, taking out all these bad guys, traveling to exotic lands, and saving the day, which most of us aren't doing usually in our daily lives. We're not going and exploring all over different lands and being considered heroes and saving anyone. So again, it's putting you in a fantasy perspective, and you get to not focus on like being behind on your rent or something like that. You can take a little time and put yourself basically in like a different life. And I think this is one reason that a lot of adults still like to play video games. Along with growing up with video games, it's also a nice way to cut loose. I've known a few people that have like police type jobs and or military jobs, and they like gaming and they like coming home and playing like shooter kind of games, because in their real like daily job, even if they involve guns or things, they don't get to just like run around shooting them off. But when you're playing some kind of like tactical squad-based shooter game, you get to do that kind of stuff and like be a full-on hero. So like one idea I had for a game, which kind of happened with Grand Theft Auto, but not fully. I always thought it'd be cool if they made like a driving game where you just get to focus on going nuts on your commute and like doing whatever you wanted, because commuting can be so awful and boring and stifling, and I don't really have road rage issues, but a lot of people do, and like that'd be a more cathartic way to live them out. You don't want to be having real road rage incidents. They're dangerous and not good for anybody. So if there's a game that's kind of a simulator of that, where like you can get out of your car and just fight someone, like, which I think Grand Theft Auto did to a degree, but that wasn't the sole focus, of course, but it was part of it. So that's kind of an example I thought of before. Um, but even I think this appeals to children to a lesser degree because I mean children have stress too. School can be hard. Um, Problems with friends. You don't want to come home to your homework. You don't want to think about your day at school or what's coming up the next day, or if you're involved in something like sports or something like that, maybe that adds some extra stress or pressure. So it can be a way for them to kind of blow off steam too. I don't think they have the same degree of needing to escape as adults, but I think it's part of the appeal. Um, Also, when you're a kid, you're more into imagination and exploration and those kind of things, which video games promote. So that's also probably a more prominent factor for kids and maybe some adults. But those are just kind of some of my thoughts about how escapism and video games go hand in hand. Let me know what you think about it. If you're familiar with the concept at all, or if this is new to you, how does that strike you? Is that, and I don't mean to say that this is all like something that happens on a conscious level. Like when I'm having a hard day, I don't go, oh, I need to play a little Zelda and like get some money on there because I can't get enough money in my life or whatever. Like I think very seldom it's something that you actually like think about. It's just something on a subconscious, deeper level that we look out, that we seek out. Um, so, let me know, agree, disagree, thoughts, whatever. I'd like to hear from you. You say bye. Bye bye.